Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a very special edition of Talking Wrestling TXN. It is Joel MF Michael Flecha alongside Anthony Florio and very special guest Jake Turner, aka Trash Panda, is with us. First time on the show. You've seen him many times where I've been on his show talking trash with Trash Panda on YouTube. Today he's in our house and we have ourselves an incredible show. We got AAA, La Noche de los Grandes, and of course, the WWE Clash in Italy that just went down a short while ago. We kick it off with La Noche de los Grandes, and we started off with the first fight of the night, which was Rey Fénix going one-on-one with the Laredo Kid for the Cruiserweight Championship of the World in AAA. The winner of the bout in 11 minutes and 51 seconds, and new Cruiserweight Champion of the World, Rey Fénix, wins the championship. An incredible jump off to this event. It was a great matchup. The psychology was really good, and it also was Rey Fénix one step ahead of the Laredo Kid. Laredo tried to do the same maneuvers, tried to do the low blow. Rey was quicker on the draw. Then Laredo Kid try to use the rope you try to use the turnbuckle as a leverage move to try to cheat his way to win the match. Rey was able to throw Laredo Kid, basically using his own tactics against him. Great ring psychology, great wrestling throughout the matchup. This was easily 3.5 stars for me. But more importantly, Anthony Florio, history made, unprecedented crowning the Rey Fénix. A lot of people feels like he's been lost in the shuffle in WWE. He comes to AAA, who is a beloved stun, and for the second time in his career, he is the Cruiserweight Champion of the World. It is all yours, my friend. Anthony?
Yep. Yes, sir. I'm here.
All right.
Because of cutting in and out. So, yeah, I was hearing you cut in and out. But some breaking news. They have just unveiled the bracket for the King of the Ring tournament. And they're also going to unveil the Queen.
Yeah, we'll get into the King of the Ring in a little bit.
Yes, we certainly will. What was the time of the fall on that match again, MF?
11:51, Anthony.
11:51. Okay. 3.5 stars. This was an extraordinary opener and a great moment for Rey Fénix, who has been inexplicably underutilized. And yes, MF, I'm definitely in that majority of those who feel that Rey Fénix has been lost in the shuffle. I'm definitely in that group. As I said, this was an extraordinary opener and a great moment for Rey Fénix, who has been inexplicably underutilized in comparison to his brother Penta, who is a legitimate star on Monday Night Raw. He and Laredo Kid had fantastic in-ring chemistry, hit their spots, had fans hanging on every near fall, and they delivered a great finish down the stretch. Red hot start to the show here. 3.5 stars. I'll go as far as to say the second best fight on the show. No question about that. So with that being said, I am honored to turn the mic over to our special guest panelist here today, the one and only Trash Panda, Jake Turner. Jake, welcome, and your thoughts on that opener.
I think you are rating this far lower than it deserves to be. What this match did to start the show was set the tone of what we're going to get in this show. It set the tone to where you look at everything that was done, every spot, every single little thing they did was intentional, down to the final fall. This match, in my eyes, was 4 stars. I think this was the second best match of the night. Fénix and Laredo Kid showcased how well they work together in the ring and just off of the past. And then you look at this, how this opens the show and how it's this high octane, fast paced. This thing told the story of their feud. It told the story of how Phoenix finally, after paying attention, overcame Laredo Kid. It's 4 stars, second best match of the evening. I'm interested to see what happens next week because I guarantee you Laredo Kid's going to have some issues with how that match ended.
Oh, without a doubt. Absolutely, my friend. And I definitely concur because of it is a 2-week event. So yeah, next week will be week 2 of La Noche de los Grandes, and we will see if there's any recourse from what happened on last night. Second fight of the evening, it was for the Latin American Championship, El Hijo de Vecino with Dorian Rodan and Omos going up against El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr., winner of the bout in 7 minutes and 18 seconds, and the new Latin American champion, El Hijo de Vecino. Anthony, you lead off on this one.
Yeah, 7 minutes. Little too short for my liking, but then again, I think we know the reason why it didn't get much time here. This was a fine match that had the crowd into it from start to finish, even if it was slightly overbooked for some's liking. Even then, the interference made sense within the context of the build to the match. Not up to the level of the opener, it was still a fine showcase of the talent involved. This is in excess of 2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star, but no problem with the outcome here. You had a feeling that Vikingo was going to win the title here. I mean, it's been quite a while since he's held the title, since he's coming off being the greatest mega campeon of all time. So this was 2.5, teetering on 2 3/4 of a star. That's the best I can go because of the short time and the overbooking. So not much more. Jake, your thoughts?
I kind of agree to the sentiment. I'm not going to go as low as 2.5. I'll give it 3 because of the in-ring prowess of Vikingo and Dr. Wagner Jr. When you look at this feud as it's been going on, you expected the ending was never in doubt. Vikingo was going to become the new champion, regardless. It's just how it was written. However, I do, and I think it will lead to this. I'm curious to see what they do with Omos and Galeno now, because they teased it when Galeno got involved, attacking Omos. I'm interested to see where that goes. I think it's a 3.5-star bout, or sorry, 3-star bout. But like you said, I don't think they got enough time. And I don't know, it felt rushed at times. There were certain spots that looked rushed, but not enough for me to say that I can give this 2.5. Because ultimately, when you look at the two and their work ethics and how they told the story in the ring, you look at what Vikingo did in the high octane moves, the springboard stuff, and then, like you said, the interferences, and somewhat you could argue overbooked. The one part I don't think is overbooked, though, is Galeno. And I'm interested to see how they go with that next week or even the week after that in the fallout of Noche Los Grandes.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to meet you guys in the middle. I think this is 2 3/4, close to 3. I think it was a solid matchup. I don't know. I'm trying to be a fan of El Hijo de Dr. Wagner. I kind of feel like he's like his father, where there's parts where he looks really, really good, and then there's moments where it's kind of head scratching with me. Like, I've been watching, and Jake knows this, I've been watching Lucha Libre for a long, long time, and there is a lot of Dr. Wagner in El Hijo, and sometimes the matches are a little slow plotting. They get a little bit to work. And Vikingo is a lightning rod. Like, Vikingo is dynamite in the ring. Like, if you see his body of work, especially during the run of when he was the Mega Campeon, that is why we loved him so much coming in. Now, a lot of people knows that he feels like a WWE project. You know, they made him the pet project, being the quote-unquote the John Cena guy and whatnot prior to when they acquired AAA and they made him kind of the face of the company at the very beginning. And that's why you had a lot of resentment. You hear the boo birds and everything else. So what does WWE do in that aspect? They're like, all right, we'll turn him full heel. We'll give him Dorian Rotan, who is the biggest lightning heat magnet in AAA, and you have him assemble with Omos. You bring the whole crew, and now you got this little working stable. But you also notice not only with Galeno, but there's also one other factor you have to incorporate in the match is Mini Vecchino. Because Mini Vecchino also got involved in that match, trying to help, in a way, trying to help Elio de Dr. Wagner Jr. win, but it did not work because at the end, Omos was the difference maker. Yes, it was an overbook, but it was still a solid story that they wrote at the end. And now we move on to the next match. And like you said, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens at the fallout of that. Next up we have on the fight card is the War Raiders going up against Pagano and Psycho Clown for the World Tag Team Championship. The winners of the bout in 9 minutes and 11 seconds. And the new AAA World Tag Team Champions, Eric and Ivar, the War Raiders. Jake, it is all yours.
Oh, give it 2 3/4. For me, this wasn't about the match. For me, it was the story between Pagano and Psycho Clown. When I look at the match, it's a fine match. These two tag teams have been working together for quite some time. They've been doing great work. There is, in my eyes, what you can't go wrong with the War Raiders and the Psycho Circus. However, the interesting thing, and it's important in Lucha Libre, and the crowd reacted the right way, and you could feel the emotions in the air at that moment in time. When Pagano turned his back on Psycho Clown, it was a moment of shock. And I know, like, for the American fans and the people that don't usually watch Lucha Libre, like, oh, well, it's expected. So you have to understand, when it comes to Psycho Clown, when it comes to Pagano, this is a brotherhood. They're like blood. That's why this has been such a great back and forth. But now you have one of the most blood-ridden feuds in all of professional wrestling and Lucha Libre, and Pagano versus Psycho Clown. The War Raiders win. Yeah, then they take out Psycho Clown, and the big part is Pagano walking away. That is what my take is from this. It was a good match, solid match. It was fantastic. But the storytelling between Pagano and Psycho Clown cannot be understated.
And you're absolutely right about that, Jake. And that's a very good point, because that was the one thing I was actually catching on as well. And we were talking about this behind the scenes on our legendary Discord chat last night, is that it was the storytelling, as you were alluding to, that it was because, and you can say for weeks now, prior to this match, that Psycho was starting to accuse Pagano, thinking that you're the one that's responsible for all of these attacks to his fellow brothers in the Psycho Circus. You know, you had Dave the Clown jumped, and that was, you know, we don't know who did it. Then we had Murder Clown jumped, and again, Psycho's in his mind's like, the only one I haven't seen in this whole thing has been Pagano, and he accused them straight up, you know, were you the one to do it? Pagano's like, no, it's not me. So then there was that one moment where the War Raiders hit. They struck, they jumped Psycho, and Pagano had that moment of, what should I do? What should I do? And on that week, he went out, he fought with his brother, and he chased off the War Raiders. Again, there was miscommunication. They didn't look like they were a cohesive unit throughout the night, where the War Raiders were. They absolutely were working together like a fine-tuned machine, like they have been. And that's why you got the win. And more importantly, they got the tag team titles. But then after the match was over, you saw the tempers were flaring and the Eric and Ivar hit the ring again. But this time around, Pagano turned his back and walked away. I saved you once. I'm not saving you again. You're getting what you deserved after what happened. You know, for weeks, you've been on my butt about this whole situation. That was the line. And last night we saw him cross that line and walk away from his own tag team partner. And like you said, this is now a blood feud. This now leads to what could be, you know, they just announced that there's going to be a 2-night Triple Mania, one in Vegas, one in Mexico City. Could it be possible that we may be heading into that kind of a fight, maybe on one of those 2 nights? This could be an absolute blood feud. So we'll see. And it leads us into the main event of the evening. This was a no disqualification lucha de Abatis.
MF, I didn't get my thoughts on the MF.
Oh,
I didn't get my thoughts on the tag
I'm sorry. My bad. All right.
I know you're excited. I don't blame you.
I'm a little excited. My bad. Anthony, go ahead, bro. It's yours.
Happens all the time. Not a problem.
Yep.
Yeah. So this was 2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star. The match was not the prettiest of the night, but it did not have to be. It was a palate cleanser, completely different from anything fans had seen to that point. It was a bruising battle that put over Ivar and Eric while simultaneously continuing the story of distrust and mounting frustration between the popular babyfaces. It accomplished what it set out to do, and it ended with the inevitable breakup between Psycho Clown and Pagano. The crowd reaction for Pagano walking out on Psycho Clown was full of passion, a reflection of the care the audience has for the competitors and their story. It is that passion that has been missing from the main roster WWE programming for quite a while now. So read into that. So 2.5, 2 3/4 of a star. All right, MF. Now we can get into the moment we were all waiting for. And believe me, we're going to have a lot to, all three of us are going to have a lot to say about this in just a moment.
This is, like I said, it was the main event. El Grande Americano versus the original El Grande Americano. The winner of the bout in 33 minutes and 22 seconds is El Grande Americano. He wins the match, which means that the original was forced to unmask. And my God, I will say this. I know a lot of people were very concerned when WWE acquired AAA. And then we started to see the programming come to fruition. Under this new era, this is without a doubt the greatest match I've ever seen for a WWE AAA production type event. This was 5 stars. This was, in my opinion, right now, this is my fight of the year. And I know me and Jake has differing opinions on that because we did talk about it last night. But as of now, this is my fight of the year. This was exactly what it needed it to be. And for me and for Jake, this is the epitome of what Lucha Libre Wrestling is all about. And thank you to the guys. Thank you to El Grande Americano. Thank you to the original for doing this justice, for doing the match correctly. And on top of that, big props to Mark Calloway, a.k.a. The Undertaker, who's the head booker. Right now, this guy should be Booker of the Year in professional wrestling. This was absolutely the love, the culture, and everything. From the beginning of the match, when they had the original El Grande Americano coming out with the security, to El Grande Americano with both mariachi bands coming out, and then the match being as violent, bloody, just systematically a story being written that if you're an American wrestling fan and if you saw this, everybody's been saying it. And all of them, almost every single reporter, dirt sheet, professional, whatever, has been given this between 4.9 to 5 stars and beyond. And this has been, without a doubt, I'm hearing match of the year candidate, whatever. This is the AAA fight of the year. This is, right now, in my opinion, just my opinion alone, this is my fight of the year in 2026. Because this match had so much depth and so much in this matchup that you had to watch it. Anthony, you talk about Shakespearean drama. This was beyond that. This was a love letter to professional wrestling of lucha libre. When this thing started way back in the early 90s, because AAA wanted to be different than CMLL. You could say CMLL is like WWE, the long-standing tradition, the long lineage of wrestling and everything else, where AAA is kind of like, I could say a little bit of WCW, ECW, relatively now of AEW. It's the young upstart. It's the alternative to that company. And what we saw tonight, or what we saw last night, I should say, may be the crowning achievement of AAA in this new era of Mexican wrestling. Like, everybody is talking about it, and nobody is batting an eye at this matchup. And we had it all. You had the Hermanos Americanos, the Cree brothers, getting involved. Yes, you had El Grande Americanos getting involved in the matchup. Rayo and Bravo showing up, they getting involved. That spot, that dive off the balcony right through the 4 men. Oh my God! Then you had that masked mariachi using the guitar. It ended up being Pipinera Escalata, which was perfect because if you remember that a few weeks ago, Pipinera got jumped by the original El Grande Americano. Then you had Adriana Belize, which is the girlfriend of El Grande Americano. She was fired she was fired or had to be forced to step away as part of a stipulation for this Mascara versus Mascara. She was there with a ticket. Then you had the blind guy, the blind rapper, the blind entertainer, the blind comedian. He got involved in the match. It was so poetic justice, and it was absolutely exactly what you need in a match. That this, by far, was one of the best matches I've ever seen. And, you know, Jake, you talk about my top 10 list, and I actually wrote it down not too long ago. This match is now in my top 10. Like, it's there now. So this was exactly what it needed to be. At the end, the original El Grande Americano did unmask. It ended up being Chad Gable. Yes, I know, shocker. I can't believe it's him. But he did it. But the way that they did it and the way that Mexico gave the love and the flowers to Chad, even though earlier in the night they were booing him mercifully for everything that he was doing. But even Chad said it. I came to AAA because I wanted it to eradicate and destroy the Mexican wrestling culture and everything. And it was unfortunate that the injury had to happen when it did, but it also triggered something even better. Because even though I think WWE has fumbled this rivalry, AAA and mainly Mark Calloway, The Undertaker, took this storyline, elevated it to a higher level, and made it a match that I never ever thought this storyline never should have worked in the first place. And they made it to the levels of a main event of like a WrestleMania. That's what they did. 5 stars, my fight of the year, Anthony Florio. This was absolute cinema. And the real winners were professional wrestling fans last night, because this was without a doubt, like, for me, this was one of the greatest matches, and I am eternally grateful to AAA for this match last night.
I agree with everything. I agree with everything you just said there, MF. I mean, I was going to make those same exact points. I mean, it was a love letter to professional wrestling fans. I read comments on X and social media, and there was one fan who already created a photoshopped image of Undertaker as the Booker of the Year. Oh yeah, most definitely. So, oh my God, where do we even start here? Let's start first with the reaction for El Grande Americano. The reaction for Americano was otherworldly. He entered the arena as a cultural hero, despite being a German-born wrestler. And that is a testament to Ludwig Kaiser throwing himself into the character and embracing Mexico and its fans. Their love for him made for one of the most incredible atmospheres for a WWE match in years. Years, guys, years. As for the match, yes, this is a 5-star classic. It is not only the fight of the night, but it's also my match of the year for 2026 in professional wrestling, surpassing what I previously had up to this point, CM Punk and Roman Reigns from WrestleMania. This was pure cinema. A brilliant, hard-fought bout with an abundance of drama, logical run-ins, blood, a little romance, and a definitive finish. JBL on commentary repeatedly referred to the match as a defining moment for the winner. But this was a career moment for both participants, something each man should be incredibly proud of. They had the weight of the world on their shoulders to deliver a match befitting all of the hype and creative build that went into it, and they succeeded. Forget match of the year contender for AAA, WWE as a whole, what have you. This is the match of the year. I don't care what anybody says. This is the match of the year. Good luck to any other wrestling promotion in the world, whether it be WWE, whether it be AEW, whether it be TNA, New Japan, any independent promotion out there. Good luck trying to find a match for the remainder of this calendar year that's even going to come remotely close to topping that cinema right there. I dare you. I double dog dare you to find a match that's going to top that this year, because it's not. It is absolutely not. And Chad Gable, total babyface after the match. He earned chants of thank you, Gable, from the fans. He delivered in his role and added gravity to his opponent's victory. How his creative will be going forward, we'll have to wait and see on that. But as far as Ludwig Kaiser, El Grande Americano goes, future, I believe one day he should be. If anybody should dethrone Dominic Mysterio as the Mega Campeon, it should be El Grande Americano. It should be him. He should be the one to do it. And I believe it should happen as part of Triple Mania. I'm already calling it. Triple Mania. Should that be the match? And I believe it will be. El Grande Americano, the next Mega Campeon. And you do it on their biggest stage of the year, Triple Mania. You do it on night 2.
It would have to be on night 2. Yep, it would have to be
September 13th.
The CDMX in Mexico City. Yeah, I agree with that.
Absolutely. Sunday night, September the 13th. And if you think that that those fans in Mexico lost their minds when he won this match, imagine imagine what those same fans will do if they strap him with the Mega Campeonato. Whoa. That's going to top it. Man, oh man. And yes, Mark Calloway, The Undertaker. Our dear colleague and friend, Michael Bullock's all-time favorite wrestler. And you wonder why he is that. I mean, Vince McMahon on the Stone Cold podcast years ago talked about how The Undertaker, giving back to the business. And what he has given us with ever since he took over the creative of AAA has been nothing short of masterful. And by the way, I believe one day he should be a part of, I think if he ran creative in WWE right now, I think it would be 10 times better than what Triple H is giving us right now. You bring that creative from AAA, you bring that to WWE, you bring that to the main roster, Taker. Whoa. That's all I can say. Think about all the good that would come out of that. So there isn't much more that needs to be said here. 5 stars, match of the year. Thank you, Ludwig Kaiser. Thank you, Chad Gable. Thank you, Mark Calloway, The Undertaker, for letting this cook the way it should have cooked all along. And I don't know what else there is to say, except, Jake, in your immortal words, this match last night fed families and then some.
When you talk about mask versus mask, when you talk about this historic type of match, a couple of matches come to mind. One of them being arguably one of the greatest matches in AAA history to date. Triple Mania XXX, Villano 4 versus Penta, where Penta demasked Villano 4, and there's the iconic image of Penta cut to shit, and just his head is just bleeding profusely, and so is the mask, and he's holding up Villano's mask. Tonight, we witnessed why The Undertaker, why Mark Calloway, I should say, and I should start referring to him as Mark Calloway, not The Undertaker anymore, because it is Mark Calloway, is the head booker of AAA. In a way, and I'm probably going to get flack for saying this, Ludwig Kaiser has taken the route of Mark Calloway. If you think about the history of The Undertaker, and you think about how this gimmick should have never worked. El Grande Americano should have never worked. It never should have. It made fun of everything Lucha Libre stood for. It made fun of every single thing throughout the history of Lucha Libre in Mexico. It made fun of all of that. And then you took Ludwig Kaiser, a guy just hungry enough to take a gimmick that turned it all around. This man was beloved and still is in Mexico. During that match, Flecha said, "Oh, I thought we were watching it together." He said, "Oh, I thought we were going to get," it was a big fight feel when Ludwig Kaiser came out, and then the original, with security. And he said, "I wish there would have been security for Ludwig Kaiser's El Grande Americano." He didn't need security because he's with family. He didn't need security because it was his familia. It was his people. And that was the story of this feud. It was Lucha Libre versus the Americanized version of it. This was saying, hey, this is not going to be your typical mask versus mask match. This is going to be one of the greatest matches in AAA history to date. And they told the story perfectly. The moves in this match, certain spots had people going, ooh, and ah, the blood, everything felt not like it was fake, like it was real. And that is what Lucha Libre is. And my buddy Krios texted me after the match, and he said, what a show. And I responded with, my heart is full. Because my whole life, I've watched Lucha Libre since I was a kid. It started with Rey Mysterio, and then I found Penta, and I was head over heels for Lucha Libre. This match was a love letter to kids like me who grew up in America, in Ohio, in New York, in all these places that don't usually get Lucha Libre, but then fell in love with it. This match told the story of ultimately what I believe. This match told the story of Lucha Libre isn't just for Mexico. It's not just for Europe. It's not just for America. It's for everyone. Think about earlier in this feud what El Grande Americano said. A Mexican isn't born in Mexico. It's the one who chooses to accept it. And that is what this is about. This is about, hey, this is the standard. This is now the standard for main events in AAA. And I don't know if they've realized it, but now you have boots to fill because you have to follow arguably one of the greatest matches of the year and one of the greatest matches in AAA history. I just have to say one thing and one thing only. Thank you to all parties involved for this match because it made, for the first time in a long time, me feel a genuine emotion for professional wrestling. The reaction that El Grande Americano got when he came out to the ring was of pure joy and pure bliss. And on the other side, the most hated in Chad Gable's El Grande Americano. This was fuck it. I'll go lower, or I'll go further back. This was Iron Sheik levels of heat versus Hulk Hogan. And they caught lightning in a bottle. And what did they do? They executed. And are we at all surprised that the man that's behind all of it is Mark Calloway himself, the man that is responsible for main events of WrestleMania? I mean, I can't say enough about the decision. This is the hottest show in professional wrestling, and if you don't believe that, then you need to go outside and touch grass. It's not even close. This is better than anything the main roster's putting on. Clash in Italy fails in comparison to what they did tonight. And I just have to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you to AAA for finally putting Lucha Libre on the map and showcasing to everyone, including the dirt sheets like Dave Meltzer, that this is what wrestling is. This is Lucha Libre. It's not going anywhere. This thing is hotter than ever, and I am beyond excited for what they have next. Because if it is anything like this tonight, AAA is going to overtake everything in professional wrestling. That is my opinion and the opinion of many I've read. That is what I have to say on this. It is 5 stars. It's not my match of the year because I'm a Punk stan, but it is 5 stars. And if anyone says it's anything below 5 stars, you don't know what you're watching. And I implore you, if you haven't seen this match, take the time because my Lord, it's Lucha Libre to a T. And that's all I have to say on that front. Flecha,
absolutely. No, thank you, my friend. Absolutely. You're totally right on that one. Overall review, Anthony Florio, you lead off on this one. Look, we can say it. This AAA absolutely delivers in spades yet again. And give me your scale from 1 to 10. What did you feel about this AAA La Noche de los Grandes night 1, week 1, I should say.
First things first, I got to channel my inner Gene Okerlund on this one. After everything that Jake just said, I got to say, Longfellow could not have said that any better, first of all. And number 2, as far as this match is, as far as the overall show goes, you know, I talk about letter grades at times, MF. I'm gonna do the letter grade here. Solid A. And that's mainly because of the main event. The main event delivered, and that is more than enough to earn Noche de los Grandes an A. That Rey Fénix and Laredo Kid tore the house down in the opener, and the rest of the card was at least fun, only enhancing the overall quality of the show. For a brand that had earned a reputation as the best product WWE puts out each week, it backed it up here. I could honestly give this in excess of 8 to 8.5 out of 10. Honestly. I also talk about, MVPs. And there are 2 MVPs, and you know who those 2 MVPs are. It's Chad Gable, and it's Ludwig Kaiser, El Grandes Americanos. There was so much riding on the mask versus mask match between El Grande Americano and the OG that anything short of an amazing main event match between the two of them would have been considered a major letdown. Thankfully, the men under the mask, Ludwig Kaiser and Chad Gable, were more than up to the task. In the most important match of either's WWE runs, they delivered a worthy bout that was long, full of drama, and provided fans with the desired outcome. It was everything it needed to be and more. And the result was a satisfied crowd that showed both men love after the bell. This is 8 to 8.5 out of 10, mainly because of the main event alone. So not much more on that. So Jake, your overall thoughts on last night's show?
9.5 out of 10. It's not a 10 out of 10 because that's damn near impossible. If you get a 10 out of 10, I don't know what to say. This is as close as perfect as you can get. When you get guys like Ray Phoenix, when you get guys like Laredo Kid to start your show and set the tone that, hey, we're going to cook tonight, you might as well not change the channel. You might as well get comfortable because this is going to be how it's going to roll. The main event obviously is what steals the show. But to me, it's not the only thing that is worthwhile. And that's what AAA has done. When you look at this company from top to bottom, they have delivered on every single metric. And if it's not, like you said, head booker of the year, if he doesn't win head booker of the year, I want to know who is ranking these. And I want to know why. Because it may not have been match of the year. This is show of the year. By far. There is nothing that can touch this. For me and for a lot of people, this is the show of the year. So it's 9.5 out of 10. And I've said everything I had to say in my little spiel about the main event. Flecha, what are your overall thoughts?
I'm going to go with the 9 out of 10. I'm almost right there with you. This was absolutely perfection. Everything was great. Yeah, there was a couple of, little nitpicks here and there, but when you set the tone with the Cruiserweight Championship, you set it and then you had a pretty good Latin American title fight, a solid tag team title match, and then the main event was just absolutely just mind-blowing. It just set the table for what we are expecting. We knew how great AAA was. We know how good it is because these type of events, even the weekly shows, there's always like, wow, there's always like a nice little here or a nice little there. And we always are like, wow, how can they top it? And then you get these marquee events, these special events, kind of like PLE level type events. And this one just blew it out of the box. Like, without a doubt, this is by far one of the best AAA special events they've had ever. And under this new WWE wing, it just makes you more excited for what could happen. Now that we are on the path of Triple Mania, and that is going down in September now. We're on that road, and now it's only going to get better. It's just, how are they going to top it? We don't know. But right now, with Mark Calloway leading the way, it's far and away just a great way to start it, no doubt about it. So we're going to go right into the clash in Italy. that was earlier, just went down just a short while ago. And we started off with Cody Rhodes versus Gunther for the WWE Championship. Cody Rhodes winning the match in 11 minutes and 35 seconds. All right, look, this match was okay, but it ran through the same formula like we always have seen. You know, it's Cody coming back when Gunther has an early advantage. Cody comes back, gets the win, but this time Cody wins by controversy because it looks like, it definitely looked like Gunther's leg and arm were both underneath the rope. Referee missed it. 1, 2, 3, fights over. Cody successfully defends, and now in the back of our mind is like, well, all right, so I guess they're gonna call rematch. They're gonna prolong this storyline. Here we go, and this will probably be at either at the Saturday night's main event in Madison Square Garden, or this is going to be in the finals of the King and the Queen of the Ring tournament, whenever that goes down. And we're going to have this match. They're going to have to run this back. It's only about maybe a 2.25, 2.5 star match. But again, it kind of left us not really wanting this outcome, but we got what we got. I mean, you could see the difference and the similarities of a great show from last night, and then we start in Italy, and it kind of was like, ugh, what was that? That's how I was coming off with it in my mind. Anthony, I can only get it about maybe 2.25. I was brutally disappointed with this match.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. This felt like a rushed greatest hits version of some of the great in-ring content we have seen out of Cody Rhodes and Gunther in their previous matches together. The finish was not executed spectacularly either. It left fans confused and booing loudly at the outcome of the bout. Still, even a lesser Rhodes-Gunther match is still damn good and had the fans in turn red hot and invested from the beginning. Gunther sold his outrage well, and that should earn him a rematch. While Cody flashed an unlikable smile as he embraced his championship, another small heel tendency to go along with what we saw out of him at WrestleMania. But, and you notice the crowd. The crowd was extremely pro-Gunther, initiating several "We Want Gunther" chants throughout the early portion of the bout. Perhaps that is further indicative of Cody Rhodes' fatigue or a reflection of the European crowd's desire to see the Reign General win the title. Whatever the case, it did make for a hot setting. Not a hot match, though. I mean, MF is absolutely right on this. The best I could go would be more around that a range of 2.5 to 3. Mildly disappointing. I mean, I was expecting a banger match here with these two because they're both capable of it, and they only get 11 minutes. And one of the problems of this, part of the problem on this, MF, the fact that they're giving us the first hour of the show free on ESPN, and I think that time constraints definitely played a part in this as well. When since they went over to ESPN, I mean, they had it right. I mean, they didn't do the first hour free. I mean, I can understand, trying to do something exciting and out of the box and unorthodox. I get it, but they call it a premium live event. Am I right on that? Isn't it called a premium live event? If you're giving away the first 2 matches, the first hour of the show for free on ESPN, that's technically not a premium live event. It's not. If you have the ESPN Unlimited app, you're paying $30 a month for that. And you only got 3 matches on said app, which is basically paying $10 for those 3 matches, $10 a pop for those 3 other matches. And the way that the match ended, talk about deflating. My goodness, absolutely deflating. So That's just how I feel. So they gotta. I mean, I can understand, wanting to do things, wanting to do something a little different. Giving the matches away for free for the first hour or so. I get that, but I think it's got to stop because I think that's starting to hurt the quality a little bit. Time constraints. They're only giving you an hour, and this match honestly should have been on the ESPN Unlimited portion of the show. It should have been. This is a premium live event match, not a match you give away for free. You got to make people pay to see it. And if I saw that, and if I was there and I saw that match, I would ask for a refund, honestly. Deflating way to end the match, but definitely a rematch is in order. I think it could be in Saudi Arabia next month at the Night of Champions. That's my guess on it. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully there'll be no controversy here. So, and especially coming off the greatness of last night, and then the first thing we get after that was that. 2.5 to 3. That's the best we can go. Not much more to say, Jake. You go from the greatness of last night to that.
I'm not going to say much about this. I'm going to give my star rating and then just a small tidbit. 1.5. I can give credit to great in ring work. But that finish was not only sloppy, downright fucking disrespectful. And excuse my language, but you have to understand, this man has retired John Cena. He has retired AJ Styles. He has retired Goldberg. And this is how you have him lose? It's one thing for it to be controversy, but it was sloppy controversy. It's not Cody's fault. It's not Gunther's fault. It's the booking. And when you come off of Triple A's magnificent last night, the night before, this was a downright slap in the face. This first hour was a downright slap in the face. It is abhorrent and awful to me that, one, this opened the show, which is insane to me because it's for the biggest title in the company. But two, the way you treated Gunther. That's all I have to say. It's a 1.5. Flecha, it's yours.
All right, we'll move on. Next up we had was the women's championship matchup, as it was Rhea Ripley versus Jade Cargill, winner of the bout. 16 minutes, 57 seconds, and still the WWE Women's Champion, Rhea Bloody Ripley. Anthony, it is yours.
Did you say 15 on that one?
No, 16. 57.
Oh, wow. Okay.
16:57. Yep.
Okay. I thought Jade Cargill actually looked great here. There was some hesitation early, but she got comfortable quick, and this may have been her best individual performance to date. This was at least as good as WrestleMania, with the competitors once again proving to have strong in-ring chemistry. They work well together, and because of their size, their offense looks even more impressive than it normally does. And then you saw the finish with Charlotte. The finish would suggest that Charlotte Flair versus Jade Cargill is the direction moving forward. And if so, the in-ring evolution of the latter will only continue. This was actually better than the opener. I can't believe I'm saying that. I thought it was going to be the other way around, honestly, but it was not. This was a solid 3.5-star match. I could have given it maybe 3 3/4 at best, but I'm bumping it down to 3.5 because of the overbooking. But hey, at least, Charlotte and Rhea, they're starting to get along more now, which is an interesting dynamic. We'll see if that changes down the road. It could. I wouldn't be surprised if it does, but right now, the money match that we all want to see is Charlotte Flair versus Jade Cargill. And it's going to happen as part of the Queen of the Ring tournament because they're going to be in the same match. It's not a one-on-one. We'll have more on that in a little bit, but they will get their hands on each other as part of the first round of the Queen of the Ring tournament. We just don't know when this match is going to take place. It could be this Friday. We'll see, but a pleasant surprise. It was better than it was far better than it had any right to be. Honestly, I was expecting this to be the maybe the worst right here, but pleasant surprise. 3.5 stars. And I think this was actually, this might have been better than their Mania match, even with the overbooking at the end. So 3.5 for me. Not much more to say except Jake, Charlotte and Jade, I believe, are definitely on the collision course, and we will see them in that Queen of the Ring first round bout.
Yeah, I am not a fan of Jade Cargill. And it is very, 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 very apparent that I'm not. And to have a match worse than Jade Cargill is impressive. So Gunther and Cody, congratulations. Rhea has somehow taken someone who can't work, someone who can't talk, but has the look, and made them into a passable star. You're right. Florio, you said it perfectly. She is evolving. She's getting better. And I hope that she does. But the reaction is still not there. For me, this was a 3-star bout because of Rhea and Jade's in-ring work. But no one cared about this match. Not a soul. And the thing is, no one cares about Jade Cargill. No one boos her. She doesn't get heat. And it sucks because, my God, she has the look. And Flecha, you can 100% back me up on this. She has the look of a dominant heel. But for some reason, they don't want to work with her and develop her. They're just throwing her out there. And I'm at this point now where it's like, I start to feel bad for her. Because, I mean, she's got to know this isn't good. But a solid match for them. A great match for them. Rhea showcasing why she is who she is. We're obviously going to get Charlotte versus Jade. For me, it's a 3 and 3.5. It was a good match, a good recovery as we go into the next match. But Fletcher, what did you think of Rhea versus Jade?
I thought it was fine. And I can give you 3. I'll give you the 3 stars. I thought it was a fine matchup. Yeah, it was. I'll openly admit that it was better than WrestleMania. I will give you that, Anthony. And yes, Jake, I know how vocal you've been about Jade Cargill. I've been very vocal about her as well. And the thing is that I hate to say it, Jade was actually better in AEW than she is now because they were able to protect her.
I did not want to say it, but you're right. I did not want to say it. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to say it. They protected her in AEW because they treated her like the Goldberg when she was in AEW, and they did the right thing. Throwing her out there at the very beginning, I felt like maybe WWE was going to go the same way, but then she got hurt, and maybe that lost all that momentum that she had. Plus, she doesn't have Bianca. She didn't have Naomi because they both either A, got injured, or B, got pregnant, and it kind of ended everything there. So it kind of really messed everything up. Yes, the match was fine. It was a 3-star bout. And that was fine for what it was worth. I thought it was fine. But like you said, for Charlotte and Jade, I think that could be interesting. I think that would be good. For Rhea, we all know who it's going to be. It's going to be JC Jane. JC Jane is the one that should be the next in line for that title. Now, I don't know if that means for JC to win Queen of the Ring, or if she becomes the number 1 contender for the night of champions. I don't know. We'll wait and see. But I think that's the road where they're going to go down there. So next up we had this was the grudge match. Brock Lesnar versus Obafemi. Winner of the bout, 6 minutes and 21 seconds. Brock Lesnar Lesnar beats Obafemi. Jake, it's yours.
Okay, so Flecha can attest to this because he was there when we watched it. And if anyone knows me, and Florio, you're starting to get to know me, I am a huge fan of Oba. I've watched Oba in NXT. I said it when he came into WWE. This man is going to run all of professional wrestling. I have been called crazy. I have been called dumb. Who's laughing now? Did you hear the reaction of the ruler when he walked out the ramp? And then to deliver what they delivered, I was scared. I was so afraid because I'm like, oh my God, they're going to ruin Opa. They're going to do what they did to LA Knight. They're going to do what they did to Zack Ryder. They're going to do what they did to all these guys that are good. But no. And you know what? I have to give credit to Brock Lesnar. Because again, Brock could say, I'm winning. It's going to be clean. It's going to be quick. And that's it. The story they told in this match is perfect. Oba, dominant WrestleMania, comes in a little cocky, but still fights Brock Lesnar. This, in my eyes, is a 4.5-star bout. Yes, it's a short match, but it didn't need to be long. You just needed to make sure Oba looked good, because now it sets up a grudge match at SummerSlam. And for a lot of people, it's like, oh, it's a throwaway match. Think about what happened in this match. Brock Lesnar systematically dissected Obafemi. This is the Brock Lesnar from UFC. This isn't the Brock Lesnar of professional wrestling. He brought out the Kimura, which I haven't seen in a very long time. It took 7 F5s to put Oba down. 7! And that, in particular, I mean, I was hooting and hollering, and Fletcher could talk about it, but I know Florio's first. When Oba stood up after going through the table, I about lost my mind. I was like, oh my God, he rolled back in the ring and another F5 and he kicked out. And I was like, what is happening? Because that doesn't happen. And a lot of people's heads are turning. Now, I know it's going to be a grudge match at SummerSlam. Oba's probably going to go over, which means Oba's probably not going to win King of the Ring because he's probably going to get screwed over by Brock tomorrow because, again, this isn't over yet. But 4.5, job well done. This has completely erased the taste of Cody Gunther from me because I was like, okay, we're back. But obviously it changes as the show goes on. But Florio, what did you think about my boy versus Brock Lesnar?
Well, let me get my thoughts in, and then Anthony will jump in.
That's right, Florio, you're up.
Yeah. So no, that's okay. You're good, man, and you're absolutely right. This was exactly what it needed it to be. It was like a carbon copy of WrestleMania, but this time it was Brock Lesnar doing it to Obafemi. But the thing was, Oba came right back. Oba looked strong in the feet, and it was that basically Brock had to do his greatest hits. And to note one thing, he never did one suplex on him. Out of the gate, he rushed him with 4 F5s, 5 F5s. Oba couldn't be put away. Then Heyman's like yells Kimura, put the Kimura on him. He does. And then Oba gets up, picks up Brock, who's about 290 pounds, throws him into the buckle. Then you start seeing, Oba starting to, get the momentum. They go outside the ring. Yes, there's the F5 through the table. Back in the ring. Oba shoots up like a cannon, runs back into the ring, and then Oba starts doing his big move set. And you're like, oh no, Oba's going to get this. He starts to set him up. He goes for the fall for grace. Brock someway is about 10 feet in the air, lands on his feet, grabs Oba, a 7th F5, 1, 2, 3, done. He basically puts the nail in Obafemi, and for the first time in WWE, in the main roster, Oba gets pinned. But it doesn't hurt because Oba basically took Brock's best punch, came back, And the only reason why he lost was because Brock wanted it more. It's perfect story because it's not like it's like Jake said. Oba's overzealousness, Oba's confidence may have been a little much by saying, I'm going to kill you. Well, guess what, Oba? The ruler got toppled by the beast incarnate, by the alpha male of our species. Brock Lesnar on this night was better than Oba Femi. Now that doesn't discredit anything Oba has done, but it now makes Oba hungrier now because now he's gonna want to avenge that loss. He feels like, wait a minute, no. Now it's 1-for-1. Now we need the rubber fight. We got to do this one more time. So I feel like this was amazing. Great story, great action. It was a fun little sprint. That's something that me and Anthony Florio kind of alludes to on this show because, yes, it was 7 minutes, but it was a good 7 minutes. It was a productive 7 minutes. It was an action-packed 7 minutes. It flew by, and we were on the edge of our seats through all of it. And, yeah, there was a moment where I was like, oh, no, are they going to bury Oba? But, no, Brock did not allow that. He gave Oba his moments, so it makes us believe, oh, wow, he's still that dangerous guy. This was absolutely flawless. I won't go as high as 4.5. However, this was a solid 3. This was a very solid 3.5, because it was the body of work, the storytelling, everything that was thrown into this made this match so damn fun. And that's exactly what it was. Anthony Florio, it is all yours, my friend.
Yes, indeed. I agree with Jake's sentiments. Not the star rating, but I definitely agree on his sentiments about Oba Femi. I mean, I'm just as high on Oba as Jake is. I mean, when Michael Bullock and I do our Raw chats, whenever we do them, we don't do them all the time, but when we do them and we see Oba Femi, we always do the Oba, who, Oba. Yeah, we love that. I mean, we're all in on that. We absolutely love that. And it's too bad that he will not be at the Civic Center on June 12th when we go to SmackDown. But if he was, we most assuredly would have been doing it. Absolutely. But I'm high on him as anybody is, including Jake. But now there's going to be plenty of arguments had in the wake of today's match as to whether Brock Lesnar should have beaten Oba Femi. The answer, in short, is no. With that said, Oba Femi was booked as strongly as one can be on the losing side of a matchup. He absorbed everything thrown at him and continued tossing Brock Lesnar around until he could not muster another kick out. The match was longer than Mania and more effective given the story being told. I'm definitely with MF on the rating. It's a 3 to 3.5 star match. Now then, with that said, the moment Oba rose from the table spot and re-entered the ring was the opportunity to definitively put him over and tell the wrestling world that this is an unstoppable force who will be the face of the company for years to come. He could and maybe should have defeated the Beast and moved to 2-0, forcing Brock Lesnar to put his career on the line for real this time at SummerSlam. But, we did get the 50-50 booking here. And while the match was a fun little sprint and the booking worked, to some, keyword is to some, it was not the most ideal outcome. But in the context of the story here, they absolutely, they definitely got this one right. A rubber match most assuredly is needed, and I believe it'll very likely be at SummerSlam, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Brock Lesnar's build hometown. And I believe on that night, that's when Brock will call it a career, right then and there. And Oba will get that retirement moment that we thought he had at Mania until they pulled the rug out from under us a couple of weeks ago. So, I'm with MF on the rating here. 3 to 3.5 stars. Absolutely better than the Mania match, even though the Mania match was also good, but a fun little sprint, like MF said. So not much more. MF, we move on to the Women's Intercontinental Championship matchup.
Yes, indeed. It was Sol Ruka going one-on-one with the reigning champion, Becky Lynch. Winner of the bout in 14 minutes and 2 seconds. And the new Intercontinental Women's Champion is Sol Ruka. This was another 3.5-star bout. This was actually a pleasant surprise because I kind of felt like it could have gone two ways. Becky could have used Jessica Carr as a shield again, do some kind of nefarious means, and try to win the bout, and then we can prolong the story. Or Sol gets it, doing the right, earning her way to the title and getting it. This was exactly what it was. This was exactly what it needed it to be. I'm happy because I honestly thought Becky was going to go over. I know there's a few people that thought so too, and then there was others that was like, you know what? Sol deserves the moment. This is where she should win it. They should pull the trigger. I remember Krios, because we were in Discord, and he was like, I'm so proud. I'm so happy that they pulled the trigger and let her win the title. And that is the sentiment I'm getting from a lot of people right now, is that they wanted Sol to be the champion. They were hoping that this was going to be the outcome, and it is. New champion. History made, unprecedented crowning. Anthony Florio, another 3 to 3.5 stars, and we have a new Women's Intercontinental Champion. It is Sol Ruka.
È stata fatta la storia. That's how we say history has been made in Italian.
There you go.
And I'll even give you unprecedented crowning. We say in coronazione senza precedente. That's how you say unprecedented crowning in Italian. But regardless of what language you say it in, I believe I had this one. You remember this past Friday night when we did the preview of this. I had the feeling. I pulled the trigger. I took a chance. I took a risk, and I said, I think Sol's going to win the title. And sure enough, I was right. I had a feeling I was going to be right on this. This was another strong match in a string of them. Even if the finish was a bit abrupt and not as polished as Sol Ruka and Becky Lynch probably wanted, the young star rose to the occasion, delivered a fantastic performance against the greatest women's wrestler in WWE history, and earned the first of what will likely be many main roster championships. And I know Becky has had a reputation of being, a lot of people have called her Becky Hogan in recent years. But what happened here? Becky put over another young star of the future. So much for those complaints. And if Raw General Manager Adam Pearce is tired of hearing Becky Lynch complain about referee Jessica Carr being partial or coming up with excuses because of her involvement in the matches, why doesn't he just not assign Jessica Carr to referee any of Becky's matches? But 3.25 to 3.5 stars. They got the outcome right here. Congratulations to Sol Ruka. Special moment. She is more than deserving of this. It now sets up some fresh matches in the future for Sol to defend the title, and maybe now Becky can start, being slowly integrated back into the women's world title picture. And that is evidence because she will be, Becky Lynch has been added to the Queen of the Ring tournament, and a very interesting first round bout, to say the very least, whenever they decide to do that match. So it could be tomorrow, who knows? But yes, 3.5 stars. Solid match, and congrats to Sol Ruka. I had this one. I had a good feeling that they were going to do this, and they did. Wow, they actually took a risk. How about that? That's awesome. So 3.5 stars, Jake. Sol Ruka, the new Women's Intercontinental Champion, could set up some fresh matches for that title down the line, and Becky slowly integrated back into that world title picture.
I'll give it 3 stars. I don't really have much to say about this match because it's already been said. I will say, however, I am a little worried for Sol. This is the third week in a row where she has had a serious botch. And I get there's nerves, but as Becky says, when it comes to the big time, you have to be perfect. And she is far from polished, but this is the right move. Obviously, Sol needed this win more than anyone. I think it will help her just get used to the bigger feel of the main roster. And I think that's all it is nerves. I know she's talented. I mean, in NXT, I've watched her for countless of fucking hours, and she's just that. She's good. She's that good. But yeah, like I said, 3 stars. I don't really have much to say on it. Sol wins. Good decision. Fletch, it's yours.
Main event of the clash in Italy. It is tribal combat for the World Heavyweight Championship, for the Ula Fala, and for the position of tribal chief in the Adewani family. Roman Reigns going up against Jacob Fatu, winner of the bout in 27 minutes and 12 seconds, and still the World Heavyweight Champion, Roman Reigns. Anthony Florio, you lead off on the main event of the evening.
What was that time again?
27 minutes and 12 seconds.
The match was the hardcore, chaotic brawl we thought it would be. It was hard-hitting, had a lot of story packed in there, and the result was a strong main event whose outcome was never in doubt. Roman wins as expected, and now Jacob Fatu will have to fall in line with the bloodline, with a potential showdown with the MFTs on the horizon. To be honest with you, I thought the first 10 minutes or so of the match were on the boring side, but Roman and Jacob eventually turned in a good match. Jacob loses clean and now must serve Roman Reigns beginning tomorrow on Raw. And some people are going to be are most certainly going to be unenthusiastic about the direction here. And if that is the case, you're not alone. We've seen this stuff so many times before. I mean, we've seen this bloodline stuff before. This is almost like a copy and paste type situation. I talked about on Friday how I was hoping that WWE was going to take a risk here and give the title to Jacob. You had a little potential story right here. What they could have done, what they honestly could have done here, was you could have had Jacob win the match here. You could have had Jacob win the title, and then he takes over the tribal chief stuff. He takes over the head of the family, and Roman could have gone away, and maybe he then comes back to reclaim the title of tribal chief and head of the table and all that. You could have done. I mean, the storyline of Jacob Fatu beating Roman Reigns, taking control of the family, and Roman not being able to control or lead the faction, and then Roman coming back to reclaim the head of the table title. That would have made this more interesting. But now it's just more of the same. Roman beats everyone. And we've seen this bloodline stuff before. So it's almost like a copy and paste type situation. The best I can do for this would probably be right around 3.5 to 4. I think that's the best I can give it. I mean, this main event was nowhere near as good as what we saw last night. Last night, that was 10 times better than what we saw here. But, like I said, the first 10 minutes or so boring, but they eventually did turn in a good match. Not a great match, but a good match. And Roman Reigns, again relying on the turnbuckle, moments after exclaiming he didn't need it to win the match. The tribal chief as we knew him during his heel run is back, regardless of how hard the fans want to cheer him. He is a clear heel, and it'll be interesting to see how this character is presented in the coming weeks, starting tomorrow night. So, best I can do is 3.5 to 4. Not much more to say except Jake, more of the same here. Copy and paste, bloodline stuff.
All right, I'm not gonna try to be as critical or down as I was going to be. But I've been saying this since Punk lost the title. What are we doing? Like, what? Why? Why? This match was boring from the beginning. Then it picked up at the end, as Roman matches usually do. But it was to be invested in this took a lot of effort because, my Lord, it took several years. I thought maybe Fatu goes over. Maybe we go a different direction. It's the same thing. And I was afraid of this. This is TKO. He's safe. This is the right decision. It's safe. It worked before. It can work again. Newsflash, it's not working. People are checking out. This has been happening. It's affecting Raw. It's making Raw worse. Since Punk has been gone from Raw, Raw has gotten worse. Because Roman as champion is the same thing we got for the last 4 years. And it was great for those 4 years. But your time comes and it goes, as it does in this business. After the match, and it sets me up a wall because it's just poking fun at everyone that loves professional wrestling. Roman Reigns says, bring on LA Knight, bring on Royce Keys. For what? You to beat them again? With the same crap? Like, I get it. Roman Reigns is big time. He's considered one of the greatest of all time. But to a point, you don't even mention Obafemi. Like, the guy that called you out on the panel at WrestleMania. You don't even mention Oba at all. And I get Oba has his hands full, but so that storyline's dead now. You've completely killed it. For what? Another run with LA Knight where it's already predicted that you're going to win. Another run against Royce Keys, and you're probably going to win that because you don't put people over. This was the wrong decision. This was the wrong decision to have the match again. It's 3 stars because it was entertaining at the end, and it was mostly because of Fatu. I just cannot believe that it happened. Like this, I was riding high. I was like, okay, the Soul match was fantastic. Great. Oba match, great. Rhea match was very good for what it was. The opening and ending of this show ruins the show. Like it. Yeah. And then Roman, after the fact, I don't know if you guys seen this yet, but he said FQB1, and like, if you were afraid of the bloodline before, just wait, now I'm doing it the right way. What, burying everyone in the company? Especially the other world champion? Like, what are we doing? Yeah. Like, you're not even trying to uplift the talent. Roman, newsflash, your time in WWE is running out because of your age. Father Time is undefeated. You leave the company better than you found it. That is what you do. That is why Cena tapped out to Gunther. That is why AJ Styles put Gunther over, because he realized Gunther is going to be the next big thing. I am terrified for when Oba faces Roman Reigns, because I fear Roman Reigns' ego will get in the way of doing business. Him as champion has been a failure. That win against CM Punk at WrestleMania means nothing. It literally means nothing now, because ultimately, I'm just waiting for his reign to end, if it will. And to me, and I'll give it to you, Flecha, and then I'll be done with this rant. I feel for Jacob Fatu, because not only is he no longer a main eventer, he is now going to be pushed into the back again because he lost. And now you have to serve me. What good does this do for anyone? Like, what good does this do for Fatu? He doesn't look any better because he lost to Roman Reigns. In fact, he looks worse. You should have just fired him. You literally should have just fired him, because that's all that you've pretty much done. What did Michael Cole say, Flecha? You've domesticated the Samoan werewolf? Are we for real?
Yeah.
Dude, you just killed Fatu. Like, if you're trying to build Roman into something that he already is, what's the point? And that's what I got at the end of this, is what was the point of any of this? At AAA, I was like, okay, we're back. And you know what, Flecha? I might just need to start watching only AAA, because at this point, it's the same crap over and over again. And Florio said it best. It's the same thing. And I'm tired of seeing it. It's so annoying. It's yours.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, you guys are right. You guys are right. And the funny thing is that once you get into that part, it's a 3-star bout. It was a fine main event. And it was exactly what it was what it was. But yeah, Michael Cole, what was that? The commentary at the end after Jacob lost, like the way he said it, it kind of was like, whoa, bro, what are you doing? Like, I never criticized Michael Cole in a long time. I had to criticize him on that. Even Creos criticized him. Jake was like, what was that? So we all were like jumping on Michael Cole, But yeah, that was exactly interesting to see. But it was a fine match. But yeah, the ending left to be desired. And then you talk about the king and queen of the ring. I'll bring this up briefly, guys, because they did indeed drop the brackets on the men's side. First round matchups. Listen to this: Penta versus Obafemi. This is on Raw. Penta, Obafemi, Dominic, and Braun Breaker.
No, it's a fatal 4-way.
Oh,
it's a fatal. Yeah, you can't see it. Yeah, so you can't see it by the graphic, but that's a fatal 4-way. Yeah.
So you got right. So
let me see if I can help you out here. So it's
Penta, Oba, Dominic, and Braun is one side, and then on the other. All right.
It's Penta, Femi, Sikoa, and Hayes in a fatal 4-way.
Oh, okay.
At least that's my understanding by how this bracket's laid out. So then the bottom half, so they have 2 from each show. So for SmackDown, you have Sikoa and Hayes versus Penta and Femi in a fatal 4-way.
I see it. I see it.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, no,
I'm not sure.
I see how. Yeah, and then you got Braun. Then you got Braun Breaker, Dominic Mysterio from Raw, Trick Williams, and Damian Priest on SmackDown. Then the third, I guess, qualifier is Seth Rollins, Javon Evans, Tala Tonga, and Ricky Saints. And then the final one is you got Jey Uso, LA Knight, Royce Keys, and Finn Balor. Wow. Whoa. So obviously that means, Anthony, we're walking into 2 of these fights on Friday. We got to be walking into 2 of these matches. You got to think. So you got that. And then on the women's side, I mean, holy freaking crap. Listen to this. Liv Morgan, Becky Lynch, Alexa Bliss, and Chelsea Green. Then you get Sol Ruka, Lyra Valkyria, Charlotte Flair, and Jade Cargill. You got Roxanne Perez, Io Sky, Julia and Lash Legend.
That is insane, by the way.
Bailey. Yeah. Like Roxanne, Io, Julia, and Lash.
Jeez.
And then the final one, Bailey, Raquel Rodriguez. I know a few people don't like Raquel. JC Jane and Kiana James. I mean, okay. If I'm in Providence, give me the Liv, Becky, Alexa, and Chelsea fight. I want that. I want to see that.
Me too.
That is gold. And then give me Roxanne, Io, Julia, and Lash.
Insane. That is just insane.
Just give me those 2 matches in Providence. I'm good with that. I don't think they're going to do it, but imagine if Oba's in Providence. And then we also get Penta. Oh my God. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with that second bracket, but
I hate to say it.
That's going to be that's going to be
tonight,
insane.
Fletch, Royce Keys is going to be king of the ring.
Yeah.
I think. Because Brock is definitely going to interfere tomorrow and cost Oba the match. Carmelo Hayes is going to go over. And after that, the only one who I think could be king of the ring is Royce Keys.
And if Royce Keys wins it, he automatically
shot
gets
at Roman
to fight
Reigns.
Cody.
Well, Roman or Cody.
He gets Cody.
Oh, he gets Cody?
He gets Cody. He gets Cody.
Exclusive.
Brand exclusive. Royce Keys on SmackDown. He automatically gets Cody Rhodes and the undisputed WWE title shot.
And a Raw guy.
Yeah.
But if a Raw talent wins, then that Raw talent
if a Raw
gets Roman.
talent, then they get Roman. But I don't see, other than Oba, I don't see any other guy on the Raw end that can win the whole thing.
The women, the women, I have no idea. You could literally throw it on a dartboard and go from there.
Not going to be Liv. It's
obviously not. Obviously not the women's
it's not
champion.
Gonna be Liv.
Yeah.
It's not going to be Liv. It's not going to be Soul.
I think it's going to be JC.
It could. Wins, you know what? It could. You might be right. You might be right on the money.
It could be JC Jane because she automatically would go after Rhea Ripley. That fight would happen in Saudi Arabia. Exactly. So that could actually happen.
Exactly.
So we'll see. I mean, all right, guys. So I don't think that we really need to do an overall review on the show. It was a fine show for what it was worth. At the end, you got what you got. Now we're moving on. King and Queen of the Ring. They start obviously first round matches in. They're going to be back in Turin or Torino, just for all you Italians out there.
It's Torino.
And then on Friday, Torino. And then on Friday, they're going to be right here. They're going to be in Bologna. In Bologna. So we got that. So we get the semifinal fights. So we're going to get the semifinals, it looks like. So, yeah. So we're going to wait and see how that plays out. It's going to be really interesting to watch. And, yeah, guys. So, thank you, Jake Turner, for being a very great special guest for us. Anthony, as always, thank you, my friend. And thank you guys, as always. Like the video, leave a comment, share with all your friends on all the social media platforms. And we're going to drop the links on Jake Turner's page as well. So we're definitely going to do that. Hey, you do it for us all the time. We'll return the favor for you. And we'll be back on Tuesday night for another edition of Ridiculously Raw, hosted by Anthony Florio on the Tone 25. We do Monday Night Raw. We do NXT. And then on Thursday, we will be previewing the NBA Finals, the Stanley Cup Final, and we'll also got the UFL playoffs as well. And then on Friday, we do another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk. We talk about TNA wrestling. We got, obviously, our review of SmackDown Live. And I will also preview the second week of La Noche de los Grandes. This one won't be as big as the first one was because I think this was the last night was the bigger show. This one will be the second show, but it doesn't have the same oomph as the first one did. But there is a really good 6-woman tag on the docket for that one. So when you got La Cadenita, you got Lola Vice and Bailey. You want to talk about Bailey having a resurrection and having quite the time of her life in Mexico. And they're going up against all three members of Los Toxicas and a 5-way. That's also in play. We'll get into that on Friday night. So thank you so much, everybody. Have a great evening, and we'll see you guys on Tuesday. So long for now. Bye-bye.